all my friends were kind of horsey related, so we used to go out on our horses, and that was kind of our life up until I was about 16. And then obviously then you start changing a bit, started to go out a lot, became a bit of a
Alcohol,
party
boys
animal.
and girls.
Yeah, the party life here in Marbella, it's pretty good if you're into that. That was back in the days before. I'm no longer that kind of person.
Right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chatzzz. And we're still in Marbella. Got a very, very special guest today. Holli, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, good morning.
So, we've only met once before, haven't we?
Yeah.
You're a very close friend of Henry. He always speaks very highly of you.
Yes.
And I managed to... How did I get you on this podcast? Did Henry say it, or did I? Was it the other day?
I think Henry kind of made it happen. He told me I was going on the podcast before you even came over. So yeah, I guess it was an easy sell for you.
Yeah, nice. So I didn't prep you until about 2 minutes ago about the 3 facts. So have you got 3 facts about yourself? I feel bad for not everything.
Right, okay, 3 facts off the top of my head. Okay, I grew up in Spain. I grew up here in Spain. I worked on cruise ships for just under 9 years. And I've just recently started my own company in real estate.
Nice. So I think I spoke to you the other day about it, didn't I? I said, how long have you been here? And you've grown up all your life. So your mum and dad from Spain? Or?
No. They're from the UK. I was originally born in the UK, but my family lived here for years before I was actually born. So they went back to England, basically had me. And then I think pretty much as soon as I had got a passport, they brought me back over. And yeah, this is hope.
Oh, that's so cool. I think Marbella for me, it's just like such a cool lifestyle though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice and chilled, nice weather, everyone's in a good mood.
Yeah, it is. It is a lifestyle area, you know, like, and I'm in real estate at the moment. And I always say to people, when you're buying a property here, you're not just buying a home, you know, you are buying a lifestyle. And that's what it is. It's beautiful. We have amazing weather, amazing beaches. It's safe. You know, there's so much to do. It's beautiful here. It really is.
Yeah, that's cool. And then the second one is you worked on the cruise ships for 9 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So
How'd you get into that?
God, so I actually went to work on the cruise ships when I was 18. I worked in the spa, so I did all my training in spa therapy, beauty therapy, aesthetics and everything. And then, I went to a college that had a really high standard, and I started working here, and I just didn't like the standard that kind of the salons here at the time were
behind the scenes kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah, kind of thing. So I decided I'm going to go work on the cruise ships. I'll do one contract and save some money and then see where I wanted to go. And then, 9 years later, I was in that industry. I'd kind of worked my way up to the top to a really high level. I was living in Miami, actually, working from the office eventually side of it. And then up until COVID, pretty much, I did see myself kind of living in Miami, you know, permanently. But then COVID happened and then I came home. And then, that's when I kind of had a new venture and went into real estate over here, which has been great.
Yeah, that's cool. And the third one is you just set up a business, but we'll talk about that in a bit, I reckon.
Yes.
So what were you like growing up then? But where did you kind of like fit in? What did you enjoy doing and that kind of thing?
Growing up, so I've always been pretty outdoorsy. I had horses, loved being outside. Yeah, loved horses. So I hope all my friends were kind of horsey related, so we used to go out on our horses, and that was kind of our life up until I was about 16. And then obviously then you start changing a bit, started to go out a lot, became a bit of a
alcohol,
party
boys
animal.
and girls.
Yeah, the party life here in Marbella, it's pretty good if you're into that. That was back in the days before. I'm no longer that kind of person, but that's quite a, and then that's when I realized I had to start looking at what I was going to do in the future and work-wise and get my head together and stuff. So, yeah.
That's cool. What did you want to be or what did you want to do? I know it's like I always say to people, it's difficult, isn't it, when you're like 16 or 18 to say at school, like, what do you want to be or what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And you're not even like a fully developed adult, never mind knowing what you want to do, but was there anything in particular you thought, I really want to do that?
Do you know what? There was nothing in particular that I can think of, I want to do this. This is my dream. But I did know that I did not want to go to university.
Okay.
And I was quite lucky. Like, I did really well in school, but my parents actually was never pushy to go to university or anything like that. They were like, okay, well, at that point, you can make your own decision. So I feel like that was really good, because I know that some of my friends, their parents are very like, you've got to do your A levels, you've got to go to uni. And I actually ended up leaving school at 16 after doing very well with the equivalent of GCSEs here, passed them all, and then didn't then go on to do my A levels, because at that point then I decided that, I wanted to kind of go into the beauty industry. And that's when I went to a college that specifically, did A levels within that industry. And I was quite lucky that my parents supported that and that they pushed me towards that, because that allowed me to then start working. That was a 2-year degree, and that allowed me to then start working, from the age of 18 with a skill set behind me.
Yeah, no, that's really good, isn't it? I think it's important to have supportive parents, isn't it?
Yeah.
No matter what you want to do. I went to uni, but just to buy myself some time, because I didn't have a clue what I wanted to be or do. So did you enjoy school then, or?
Yeah. I enjoyed school, and I wasn't a good, I wouldn't say I'm the best learner in the world, but I'm definitely, I got through it and I passed, everything. There was nothing particular I failed in academically, obviously struggling in some subjects and stuff. But yeah, it was okay. But I just knew that at the time, I either wanted to go into a kind of profession, and none of the professions that I wanted to go into kind of required university.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the pathway out of that.
And how did you decide on what you wanted to be or what you wanted to do and for the next step then? How was that? Was it like a process of elimination, or?
Yeah, kind of a process of elimination at that point. So I actually really went through this stage of really wanting to go into like theatrical makeup.
Okay.
As you are a 16-year-old girl, you get really into makeup and all that kind of stuff. And actually over here in this area at the time, there was like a lack of education in that kind of area, unless you wanted to go to Barcelona or something like that. But all the good schools was in London. So I actually found this beauty academy that did all kind of aesthetics, beauty qualifications, but they also had makeup and all types of makeup training along with that they included in with the course. So at the time, obviously, I'd just turned 16, so I wasn't really prepared to go to live in Barcelona, and I couldn't go to London at the time, to live. So then I kind of thought, okay, well, let me do this, and then this will then open up a venture into kind of where to go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I kind of got into that.
That's cool. Did you enjoy that then?
Yeah, that was really good. It was a great course. Yeah, it was brilliant. And like I said, it was to a very high standard, which I loved. I'm one of those people, I'm all or nothing. So if I'm passionate about something, I'm 120% in, you know.
want to be the best.
Yeah. If I'm not, then I can't do something, because I can't do things half in, half out kind of thing. I'm very all or nothing.
Yeah. So that was a 2-year degree, was it?
Yeah, that was 2 years.
And then what was the plan next? Obviously, 18.
So,
you had to get a job, did you?
Yeah. So actually,
Scary.
Exactly. That's when I'd actually been working since I was 14.
Doing what?
Loved working, as in being independent, earning my own money.
Yeah.
So I always had side jobs, always had part-time jobs kind of outside of school hours, small things from helping out in a bar, doing a bit of waitressing, cleaning cars. My grandparents had a renting car company, so I used to offered to start cleaning the cars for some extra pocket money, which then evolved to cleaning a few people's apartments, and stuff like that. Yeah, I worked in a card shop on a Saturday morning. I was, at one point, I was 15, I think, going to school and had like 3 part-time jobs on the side. So, I've always
Good
been
work
very,
ethic, yeah.
exactly, very independent, had always great work ethics, and always wanted to, earn my own money and buy my own things. So yeah, I think at 18, I decided, actually, I had this crazy idea that had it in my head, I wanted to go and live and work in London. Don't know where it come from, don't know why, but I just had it in my head. But of course, going to live and work in London, your living costs there are a fortune. I was 18, fresh out of college, you could say. So, no one there is going to employ a young 18-year-old, non-experienced girl. So that was when the college I actually went to, they used to host training days for the crew, for the spa management company that works on the cruise line.
Yeah.
So once a year they would have kind of like a day where the recruit that would come and kind of host a bit of a day. So one day I sat through it and I thought, I know, I'm going to go work on the cruise ships for 1 year, do the equivalent of one contract, which is 9 months, save enough money, gain the experience, and then go to London. That never happened, but
it's a good idea though.
Yeah, the idea was there.
So what was kind of the next then after that?
So then I went onto the cruise ship. I applied, got through all of that, went onto the cruise ships. I did 3 contracts, which they're 9 months each time, before then being promoted to assistant manager. I did a contract as assistant manager, then got promoted again to spa manager. I did about, I can't remember how many contracts, it was quite a few years of doing that. And then I got promoted to a sales and revenue supervisor. So I actually used to be the sales and revenue supervisor for our doctors that worked in the spa that perform all like the Medi-Spa treatments. So like the Botox, the fillers, the facial rejuvenation treatments. So at that point, I was based in Miami. I'd travel ship to ship, but with my base in Miami, basically reviewing underperforming doctors, seeing, what their areas that, that they're not doing well on, and basically trying to help them to improve their sales and revenue to hit target. And I did that for a couple of years, and, I was growing and basically developing myself in Miami and everything, and had planned to, wanted to be the next step, which would have been a director, and be there full time. And then that was happening up until COVID pretty much.
It's a big stage of everyone's life, COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd imagine the 9 years you say you did in the ships, you must have grown and developed as a person a lot and changed and evolved, like from that 18-year-old girl to whenever COVID was a few years ago now. It seems like a distant memory, isn't it? And so what kind of changed for you? Did you enjoy doing that? Did you enjoy like I don't know how to describe it really, just like the get up and go kind of the sales and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm a very now a get up and go person. Some may call me a bit erratic in some cases, but yeah, everything's got to be done. It's got to be done now. Like there's no time. Let's go forward thinking ideas and solution finder, any problem we have to find a solution for it. And
they have to find though, like solution finders, you don't realize until you mingle with a lot more people. Like I'm on my own a lot of the time on my laptop, like a keyboard warrior, but you don't realize how many people are just like, oh, I don't know the answer, and ask somebody else rather than just like say, oh, I've got a problem here, and you find a solution, say, oh, well, this is the issue and I found this solution, then you move on. And that's like when people really progress in the careers or in the business and that kind of thing.
Well, on the ships, sometimes I'd be managing a team of 40 staff and from all different nationalities, and so, that alone is a huge learning curve, because you learn from all different nationalities, you learn all different cultures, what people like, what people don't like, what are certain cultures' strengths and what are certain cultures' weaknesses. And I guess then you've got a mixture of cultures, which some don't get on, some are very upfront, some are very timid, So again, there's always kind of issues and problems within kind of thing that you just have to string together and be like, right, this is the solution, this is how we're going to deal with this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do. So
no, I think managing people is one of the hardest things to do, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Like you say, the personalities and what they like, what they don't like. Some are having a good day, some are having a bad day, and it could be like a logical solution or a logical answer, but humans don't think logically, do they? And they just think, you think, right, this is what we're going to do, and somebody does something completely different. You think, why have you done that?
Yeah, 100%.
So then you said COVID happened.
Yeah.
Then, so it's crazy. So you moved back home.
Yeah, so I actually stayed. COVID happened on, what was it? March, something in March.
2020, I think. Yeah.
And so it was March, and that was when they announced the whole world on lockdown. And I had a place in Miami. I was renting a place, a really beautiful apartment, along with 2 friends. One that I actually worked with in the same company, but she was in a higher position, and another friend. And we had a really beautiful apartment, and they announced like tomorrow's your last day to kind of move around the world before we put the world on lockdown. And I said, you know what? So they had really strict lockdown rules here, like ridiculously strict here in Spain. It was like military. From what my family and stuff were saying, you literally couldn't leave your house for nothing. Whereas Miami, it was a little bit more chilled. like you could walk, you could go out the house and you could walk, and small things, like walking at that time made a big difference to your day-to-day life. So I said, you know what? I don't want to go home. I don't want to be put under these strict restrictions. I want to stay here where at least we've got a little bit of freedom. Like I'm good. I'm living with friends. We're living in a lovely place. I've got the resources to stay here. So whatever, I'm going to stay here. So I did until it was about 7 months. And then they started opening up the first lot of flights. So I didn't work or do anything pretty much for 7 months. But I feel like that time was also really good because I'd worked very, very hard for 9 months, and working on the ships and within that industry, it's amazing, but it puts a lot of strain on your life personally, physically. I used to, because you're not eating your own food, you've not got time to go to the gym. I know that sounds crazy to say, but you don't. Your life, I ran a global operation towards the end. So if I wasn't making calls with ships in Australia or flying all over the place, I was dealing with Europe, I was dealing with America, I was dealing with everywhere. So literally from the moment I woke up at like 5 a.m. until the minute I went to bed at like 11:30 or whatever it was, like I would be working nonstop. Yeah. So the gym and making food and everything like that kind of comes second. So you end up putting your health almost second
in the backseat. Yeah,
and that pays a big, takes a big toll on your body. I was probably the biggest I'd ever been. I was ever big, but unhealthy, and just like where you think, my goodness, like what have I done? So I took that 7 months actually to really invest that time into myself. I started cooking, started being really healthy, started exercising again and stuff like that. And I feel like that was really, really important for my mental health at the time. And that's what really kept me going through COVID. But at the same time, it was the first time in my entire life since about 14, 15 that I hadn't actually worked or like earned money or done anything. So then it got to like 7 months later and they just started opening up flights, I think, back to Europe. And here, Spain had just started to lift the restrictions a little bit and people were starting to resume back to normality. So I was like, right, I think I better go home and start to just figure my life out a bit, because obviously the cruise line industry was the very last industry to reopen. There was still that was still a very dark place of what was going to happen next. So I was like, right, let me go home. At least I can figure out a little bit, because obviously I couldn't work anywhere else in America because of visas. I could only work for the company I was with.
Okay.
So I was like, at least at home I can do a little, something. I can work. I can, even if it's in a cafe or something, just while I sort myself out. But I need to obviously work and start earning a bit of money again. So then, I ended up coming back here and getting into real estate.
Yeah. How did that come about? Yeah, I'm intrigued.
So one day I got home, and just after I'd got home, and I made 3 different CVs. I made a spa CV, like a sales CV, and just an admin CV, basically. And I sent them to absolutely everywhere. I mean, everywhere that I could find.
Like by email or?
Email, yeah, mainly email, contacting, these like recruitment pages and stuff like that. And out of everywhere that I'd sent my CV to, I'm quite qualified. I
was going to say, by the sounds, but you know what you're doing.
Yeah, out of everywhere I sent my CV to, I guess we were just coming out of COVID, so I'm sure they had thousands of applicants. One company that was a real estate agency that was just opening up actually contacted me and said, we're opening our office tomorrow. We're opening our office tomorrow. The girl that we had positioned to be our admin has just dropped out. It's not going to work for whatever reason. Can you come in today to have a chat? So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I drove,
sorry, I'm busy.
I drove straight down, had an interview. Basically, it wasn't really even an interview. It was more like, right, we're opening tomorrow. Can you drive? Can you speak English and Spanish? Are you computer efficient? I was like, yes. Like, can you start tomorrow? We're opening the office. We haven't opened. I was like, yes. At that time, I didn't care.
Let me go home and think about it.
No. I was like, yeah, when do I start? They're like, we're opening the office tomorrow. Be here at this time. I was like, perfect. At that point, I didn't care what it was, like what I was doing. It could have been anything at the time, to be honest. I was just happy to be back at work and, doing something and earning working my brain and earning money. You feel like you don't have a purpose when you're so used to doing things all the time and making decisions, and then that all stops. It's good for a while you kind of
reset.
Yeah, reset.
Reflect, yeah. Because that was similar to me, like in COVID. I restarted my business and split up with my business partner in June.
Yeah.
And then few months when I had like no money and no clients, I was waking up in the morning thinking, I've got no purpose to wake up for. And I think, what am I doing? Not like I was depressed or anything, but it's just like.
But it does get you down.
Yeah, you just think, bloody hell, what am I doing? You know what I mean? So yeah, I can relate to that definitely.
Yeah. So
first day, what was it like in real estate? Was it what you expected or?
Yeah. So this was actually a startup company.
Yeah.
It was a new company. They'd been going for a little while, but then this was like them growing into an office and kind of the startup for all of that. So yes, the first day was the open day, and it was just, we had like a bit of an event on at the office and catering and stuff like that, just meeting people. And then on Monday, that was it. I was then an admin receptionist at this new office. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. It was a small team. It was just the director, 2 sales agents, and me on admin. So it was quite small. And then that grew and grew and grew. And I was with them for about 3 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What is real estate actually like in Marbella? Because obviously I speak to Henry about it all the time. And everybody seems to be a real estate agent over here.
Yeah. So...
was it what you expected, or what was it actually like? Because I imagine some people will be watching and listening to this and be thinking, what is it actually like to do real estate over there? Especially as like a startup, it's quite exciting, isn't it, to see them grow and stuff.
Yeah. So real estate here, it's crazy because you don't need any kind of license or anything to be a real estate agent here at all, right?
Do you need in the UK? Or?
I think in the UK, or you need to be registered or something like that.
So literally anybody can do it.
Literally anyone can do it. You have some great competition. You also have some terrible competition, right? Because everyone just decides, I want to be a real estate agent, with no knowledge, no background experience or anything like that. And then because there is no regulation, like people's morals kind of go out the window as well when there's money involved. And it's big money, commissions here are high. You're dealing with high luxury end properties. And unfortunately that gets to some people's heads, and that, morals sometimes go out the window with that as well. So, you see all sorts of things. You really do.
I can imagine, yeah. Because had you ever wanted to work in real estate before then? Or was it just literally...
It had never been like a thing that I'd specifically dreamt about. I've always been very good in sales. A big part of what we did on the cruise ships, in the spa and everything, it's not just performing the treatments, it's also selling the products, selling the aftercare, upselling the treatments. And then when I managed, obviously, it's so target driven. So you've got to train your team how to sell and how to do all those things. And then I was a sales and revenue supervisor, so I was training doctors that, were amazing at what they were doing and knew exactly what to do in their technique and everything. But when you've been a medical student for however long, medical university is, often you find that these doctors are very introverted and they've not really got such social skills and know how to sell themselves. So then big part of my job was teaching doctors how to basically sell themselves and sell the treatments, So I've always been very good in sales. I know I've trained sales and everything. In COVID, Selling Sunset was the Netflix show. Selling Sunset had just aired, and everyone...
Oh, was that when it just aired?
Yeah, everyone in COVID or during COVID was watching Selling Sunset, and this was the first series, and it was the absolute hype of COVID. Yeah. And the girls I was living with actually always used to laugh and say, we can really see you being on Selling Sunset. Because I used to wear quite flashy suit. So I always, whenever I rocked up to one of my ship meetings, I was always in a flashy suit, had my designer handbag, made a statement. And they always used to laugh, and we used to watch it, and they said, I can see you being on this program. And I just used to laugh, never thought anything of it, right? But I thought it would be quite cool to sell, luxury houses.
I could see myself like that.
Yeah, I guess I could see myself like that a little bit. And then, couldn't believe it when the only job that got back to me was a real estate company. I messaged my friends and I was like, you will never guess what I'm starting.
It's mad though, isn't it? How like everything always works out like for the best and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But like you're saying about the sales thing, I think that's such like a great transferable skill, like you say, in different industries. That's the one thing I wish I did when I was younger, have like a sales job. Because I've never been sales trained and stuff. So I think I'm too chilled out and relaxed,
Yeah.
just like go with the flow kind of thing. Whereas like sales is
Oh, never say never. Wait till you meet my partner. Okay. Well, he'll tell you, but that's a whole nother story. So keep that thought in mind when you meet him.
but yeah, no, I think there's always room for improvement. I think that's the one thing that I need to improve on the most. But I've still got clients, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just one thing that I reflect on. So how did your role develop then over the 3 years and at the start of?
So I started off as admin,
Yeah.
okay? And then, like I said, it was a new company. We had 2 sales agents and I would end up helping them basically and like say, oh, say this, say that, don't do this. Like, why don't you offer this kind of thing? And obviously our director kind of like saw and he was like, you're actually, you've got quite a lot of skill set behind you. And
Actually,
I was like,
better than I expected.
well, actually, now you've mentioned it, like, yeah, my background for 9 years has been, sales. Like I'm trained in, I've passed trainings to be sales trainer. I've done full on management training courses. I'm pretty good at sales, I've got to say. And he said, okay, that conversation like just stopped there. And he called his business partner and they had a meeting and they called me in and said, right, would you like to basically be the office and the sales manager of the office, as well as kind of the admin and office manager. And obviously you train the staff, coach the staff, help the staff, and get a commission kind of on what they do basically from the sales that they earn. So I was like, wow, yeah, absolutely, great. So that's how that kind of started. And then over the past 3 years, we grew the team from what was then a team of 2 sales agents into, a massive company, which is now one of the biggest real estate companies in Marbella, with a team of 25, 26 staff, I think they have. It evolved to rentals. It evolved to interior design. I didn't do anything, with the interior design. They had their own department and I didn't really do too much with the rentals, but we set it all up and everything. And yeah, the sales team was absolutely thriving. I think there was about 16, 17 sales staff alone, and we grew that into the multi-million kind of euro company that is today. And, it's done amazing. And that was a big part of my life for 3 years. So obviously I gained all the experience and, coached and everything through there, grew staff, hired staff and fired staff, so yeah, that was great as well.
And then had you ever wanted to have your own business then? Or had you ever thought about it before?
Do you know what? Again, I had a great time working with that company. I did very well, financially working with that company, and it hadn't really been like my goal because I was kind of like running it there as if, our directors were very supportive in terms of like, if I said, right, we need this, they were very like, okay, yeah, we'll get that,
Yeah.
So then I've had a bit of a tough year this year, actually, personally, with family wise and stuff like that. And then me and my partner, he actually worked at the company with me. We said, we really just need a break away from everything, take some time out. And then, so we did. So we actually left our jobs at the same time. And
What was that like?
Hard, hard. It's hard for me, especially because obviously I was there from the beginning. I helped to grow the company. It was
Your little baby.
Yeah, it was a big emotional attachment for me. I considered it just as much, my business, as probably the owners, the directors do consider it. And I put a lot of blood, sweat and tears into that as well, and watched the staff grow and trained all the staff. They were also like my little minions, But yeah, so I decided that I needed some time away. So we left. And then we actually went to Thailand for 6 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, just to completely reset. Yeah, switch off and basically
Recharge the batteries.
Recharge. And then, it was kind of only like towards the end of that when reality started to kick in, like we're going to be home like next week kind of thing. Like what's the plan? What are we going to do? And then, that was when we kind of said, well, why don't we just start up by ourselves and kind of just see where it goes and what goes from there.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So But like I said, had you ever wanted to have your own business, or is it just like you say when you're in Thailand, you're thinking?
So I did always have one thing that I've always said, and I actually brought it up the other night to my family, and they were laughing at me. I always said I wanted to retire by 30. Okay. By retire, I don't mean not work or do anything, but I basically mean like have the freedom to do what I want to do on my own terms and so on, right? 29 now.
Yeah, a year to go.
29 now, you know, and I've worked really, really hard. I've got 2 apartments, you know, that I own and that I rent out, okay? The rental market here is great. I work really hard to get them. So they alone, you know, do fantastic. And then, yeah, I was like, what's the missing thing, you know, that I can do so I can say, okay, I've got the freedom, you know. I'd never not work or retire, you know what I mean? But just to have that freedom where I can say, right, well, I want to do things on my own terms. Or if I do want to go away for a few weeks, I can kind of thing, right? So I did always say that. I didn't know what way that was going to go. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I know that owning a business that's far from retiring. But what I mean is it's doing it on my own terms kind of thing, which I have done. So, yeah.
So that's like the final piece of the jigsaw, isn't it? That you kind of need to put in place to be like, oh, well, that's what I need to do to achieve my goals kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely exciting, but a bit scary, isn't it, setting up your own business?
Yeah.
Like it's going into the unknown because there's nobody else then telling you what you should be doing or you shouldn't be doing, or you need to get up in the morning and that kind of thing. So what's it been like setting everything up?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of it, you know, again, because I did work for a company that was also kind of like a startup, like a lot of it, you know, was a big learning curve there every step of the way. And again, I was very close with our director, and every decision that we made kind of together, you know, and every new thing, you know, we tackled together, and every obstacle we went through together. So, you know, a lot of it there is a lot of experience kind of from that. Obviously doing it by yourself completely. Again, there is new hurdles and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been really exciting. And, you know, it's businesses is me and my partner. So we're joint business owners, and he's really supportive. And also, you know, when there's days where sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do, or have a bit of a breakdown, you know, he's there to say, right, well, let's go back, let's start here, let's do this, and vice versa. So it's also nice doing that alongside someone, you know, that does support you as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think that's good because then he's in it with you and he can relate to the situations. If you're having a bad day or having a good day, you can share that together. Because I think for me personally, if you're doing something, it's better to do something with someone, because then you can like reminisce and you'd be like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. Or you need to pick somebody up and you think, all right, come on, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And just hold you accountable as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so what are you going to be doing differently in your business then? How do you want to be doing real estate differently in Marbella, would you say? What are the things that you want to do a little bit extra to make you stand out from all the other people who've set up on their own and the companies and that kind of thing?
There's a couple of things that I really, you know, value as a person. You know, client care and client aftercare to me has always been something that's very important, because again, you know, I always put myself in the person's situation, in person's shoes, right? If I was a person that wanted to come over here and buy a house, you know, what?
So loud.
I know. There's lots of building going on here.
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, I always put myself into the person's situation. Like if I was going to a new place and looking for a house, you know, what is the kind of service and knowledge I would expect from the person that is showing me, you know, that I'm potentially going to trust.
A lot of money involved, isn't it?
Exactly, you know, like the luxury market here, like you can get anything up, you know, from smaller investment properties, you know, from a couple of 100,000, but the luxury market goes up to, I'm talking like the 10, 20, 30 million mark.
It's silly money, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, like right now, you know, I'm dealing with a huge client at the moment, and it's just about taking that step back to think, making sure that you've covered all avenues, you know, not just, okay, here's the property, but, you know, finding out what do they like as people to do, as a person to do, like leisurely or sports wise and stuff like that, to then see what is around, you know, that's going to benefit them and their family. And, you know, just going that extra mile, I think is something that's really, really important. Yeah. And, you know, the second thing is just keep your morals.
Yeah.
You know,
You
again,
mentioned that before, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah, money, you see it here. Money goes to people's heads. Money goes to people's heads a lot, and the lifestyle kind of takes over. Everyone wants to be that person, and that unfortunately can get away with people. So I just think keeping that, you know, making money not the main goal, I think is something really, really important.
Yeah. I think like money's like a byproduct of success, isn't it? Really.
Exactly.
I think, like you said about the aftercare as well, I think something like that, if you look after and you show that you care and you actually care about the client, then in the future, down the line in a couple of years, they might buy again, or they might have a friend and they'll refer you, rather than just like, right, I'm going to make this commission and then forget about him onto the next person. Whereas really, if you spend that extra bit of time and attention with that person, and you probably make way more money from that one person than just thinking one sale, next sale, one sale, next sale.
Yeah.
And like the money thing as well, there is obviously so much money in Marbella, isn't there? And I think it's crazy, the price of the properties. But I don't know, why do you think the money goes to people's head than real estate especially?
Because especially in real estate, again, it's the commissions are high. Okay, they're a lot higher than like the UK, for an example.
The UK is like 1% or something.
Yeah, here the average is 5%. And again, you're dealing with a high value property. So, you know, you take that into consideration, and you're looking at a lot of money. Again, Marbella is quite a flashy place. You know, everyone wants to drive the nicest car. Everyone wants to look the part. Everyone wants to go to the nicest places. You know, everyone wants to live that kind of Marbella lifestyle. So again, people want that, don't they?
Yeah.
So whatever they do to get it.
Yeah, I think, but I do really like Marbella, but there is a lot of pretentious people here.
Yeah. And I think when you've grown up here from young, you value the smaller things in life. You know, people that come over here and they move here at a later age, you know, people in their 20s and stuff like that, it's all new to them. And that's what they want. You know, I want to go to the glitzy places. I want to go to where all the influencers go and the posh beach clubs. But I think, you know, when you've lived here all your life, you've been there, you've done that, you know. For me, I'm happy to go to the little Spanish old town and sit there all night watching people in the square, you know, rather than go to the fancy, you know, restaurants where it's all glitz and glamour, costs a fortune. And again, you're surrounded by a load of pretentious people. I mean, don't get me wrong, every now and again I'll end up there, but it's not my kind of place to go. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So then what are the plans then for the next few months for the business then? What have you got in the pipeline and anything you wanted to share?
So I guess really we are still in quite early stages. We've got, you know, we're working on
a few leads though.
Yeah, we're working on some pretty big clients at the moment actually that are coming over in the next couple of weeks. So fingers crossed that all goes positively. That would be great. And then just refining it, you know, as it is with any startup, you know, things with the website, you know, the website launches and then you find small glitches, you know.
Always. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, you do all your marketing and you find like printing errors, you know. So just again refining it and making it, fine tuning it to really how we want it, and then once we've got it to that point, just growing it, you know, growing it.
Grow a team.
I want to grow a team. I want to grow a team and get a couple of good agents under my belt and everything. And then, but again, people with like the same morals, the same kind of values, you know, and
Yeah, I think growing a team's one of the hardest things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you want them to fit that culture. Like obviously when you need someone, don't you? But if you employ someone to get someone too quickly, and then they're like bad for the culture, not good, and then you get rid of them and you're back to square one.
It's really hard to find good people here because people come and go so often. You know, a lot of people don't end up staying here. Like young people that come over to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just find it's not like, you know, the UK, for example, where like people, that's where their home is, that's where they've been brought up, that's home, you know. People tend to come over here, might be here for a couple of years and they'll go back, you know. So it is hard to find good people here that do then stick around, you know, long term. You always find that you do have quite a big turnover rate here of people just coming and going.
Why do you think that is?
Can be an array of different things, to be honest with you. Some generally may just miss home after a couple of years. Some can't hack the lifestyle here. And again,
just spend all the money.
Yeah, exactly. It's very easy to get sucked into that, especially if you're new. You know what I mean? If it's a new place to you, you want to go everywhere. You want to see everything. And that involves a lot of money.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for me, if I moved here, I'd just go to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
It's the thing, the gyms over here, unbelievable.
Yeah, the gyms are amazing.
Yeah, like the IO one is so cool, isn't it? But it needs a sauna and a steam room. I'm surprised they don't have one there.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe they don't have it there. But especially the prices they charge. But yeah.
Right then. So going to the next section, because I know you're on a time restriction, especially with Ryan. So what do you reckon? Are we going to say any mistakes or regrets, or are we just going to... Are we not going to share them? Because I know you said there's ones that you don't want to share.
Regrets? Business-wise, like professionally, no, because as we said before, you do learn from them. And I know that's a boring answer, right? Yeah. Personally, there's probably a few, but we won't go into them right now. So let's change that over to...
Do the greatest strength and greatest weakness then.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you probably heard this a lot, my biggest weakness probably is my greatest strength. Okay. I guess just because the culture that I have had work-wise, I like to take over. Okay.
Be in control.
Yeah, I like to be in control.
Bit of a control freak. I think I'm a bit like that as well.
And although in some cases that's brilliant because you take the ball by the horns, this is what we're doing, you manage every situation. But then, of course, when you then have to start delegating that down to someone, I'm the sort of person that I end up running myself into the ground because I can't delegate, I can delegate, but I still like to be in control and oversee all of that to a very
high standard,
yeah, to a very high standard. So
it's hard that though, I think, isn't it? Is. Giving that away and then not like you do expect, don't you, them to be at the same standard, but if they can be maybe like 70-80%, you think, exactly. All right, that's fine, then you're saving time, but is that giving it away because it's like, that's mine.
It's that passion as well. You know, you can't give passion to people or to someone. They've either got it or they haven't, you know? And
that's why it's different being a very good at your job and then being a very good manager, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's two completely different things. And somebody who's very good at the job might not automatically be a good manager because they don't know how to manage people. But yeah, I think like you say, it's a good trait and a bad trait, isn't it? How do you kind of manage that yourself?
Oh God!
I should be asking Ryan this.
Yeah, that maybe leave that question for Ryan.
All right, cool. So right, so where can people find and follow you, either personally or business wise?
Okay.
So plug the stuff like the website, the social media, or where they can find you in Marbella and that stuff.
Yep. So the website is beluxeproperties.com. That's the same for our Instagram and our social profiles.com. Our social profiles as well.
Yeah.
So it's beluxeproperties.com.
How did you come up with the name? Did you find it hard? Getting all of the domain and the handles and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we had about 4 different domains, which I'd got, checked everything. And then for some reason, after I'd got them all, decided that we had to change it. The first one was actually BeLuxe.
Okay. So what
Vida means like life or living. And then obviously Lux, so luxury life, luxury living.
That's cool.
And it sounds like it would be really common, but actually it wasn't. And I bought the domain. I did everything. I checked everything, got all the Instagram, got all the socials. And then one day whilst we was actually laying on a beach, I, for some reason, just checked. The one thing I missed was vdeluxe.es. And I, for some reason, went on it and realized that there's actually a property company here in Marbella with the name vdeluxe.es. Now they're at the time, I don't know if they've grown now, but they was so unseen on the internet. I'd missed it going through all of my vdeluxe possibilities.
You would have thought you would have known as well, especially if there were.
Yeah, and I looked through everything. So then I had to scrap that idea. But then, you know, when you've got one name in your head and then everything just keeps going back to that.
Fixated on that,
Yeah. So then we found another one, got the domains for that. And then when I shared it to a couple of friends afterwards, they just all hated it. They all said, well, no, it reminds me of this. So that had to be scrapped. I know sometimes you shouldn't take into consideration what other people said, but this was everyone. So I was like, right, okay.
A bit of a common theme.
And then like there was another one and backwards and forwards. And then we come up with BeLuxe. So BeLuxe. So again, be luxury.
It's got a good ring to it. Short, sweet, isn't it? Snappy.
Short, sweet. It gets to the point. It, you know, it is what it explains what it is, you know, luxury company. And then let's see where BeLuxe branches from there. I've thought of a few other businesses now that can link to that. So let's see where BeLuxe branches to.
Very exciting. Right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment your favorite part. Any questions for Holly, leave them in the comment section below. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.